Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're having fun at your tables and having great conversation, but we have a lot of stuff to do today. So we're going to get started kind of early because I want to make sure we enjoy our speaker. So now I'm going to have Kurt Orman introduce our guests. And yes, of course, the birthday boy.
Well, thank you all for making my birthday a happy one. I'm happy to be here. Wow. Thank you, guys. That made my 86 years all the better. So thank you. Well, I do have to tell a story anyway. And so this guy named John went to a shrink, a psychiatrist, and he says, "Doctor, I've been having a terrible problem." "What's that?" "I cannot sleep at night. I'm scared because I think there's always somebody under my bed." And the doctor, he says, "How do I fix that?" And doctor says, "Yeah, we can fix that. And what we need to do is meet 3 times a week for a year. And then I know that will be cured." And well, doc, how much is that going to be? It's going to be $300 each time. So he's thinking $900 a week, and then multiply that out. And so I'll have to think about that. So as time went along, he didn't show up to the doctor at all, and he was meeting this shrink, and he met him downtown, and he said that, well, let me back up a second. He said, "I think I know a friend of mine that might help me in the meantime." And so they met downtown 6 months later, and the doctor said, "Well, how does it happen that you didn't come back for some more treatment?" He said, "Well, I met a friend and he helped me a lot. In fact, he helped me so much with the cost of I was going to pay you, I have saved enough money to buy a new truck." And so the doc says, "May I ask how he helped you?" He says, "Yeah, saw off the legs on your bed." Okay. Oh. Thank you. That was a second laugh. That was good. I like that. All right. We have some visitor here. What we're going to do is start off down at the end table down there where Donna is. And if the visitor would stand up and tell us a little bit about him, herself, or herself, and what you're doing here and why we should like it. No, don't worry about that. Where's my man with the, there's my man with the phone. All right. Our future president helping out here.
Boy, third time's the charm. Here we go. I can't speak to why you should like me quite yet, so sorry about that. But this is my second meeting. Some of you, I see some familiar faces. Hi, John. I'm the GM of the Rocky Mountain Vibes, so the baseball team on the east side of Springs.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so thank you all for having me and your hospitality, and I look forward to hopefully many more meetings.
Great. All right. Are you a guest today?
Yeah, this is a guest of mine. His name is Flip Aguilera. He is an instructor at a gym that I go to for many very difficult classes. But he also puts on a lot of events in town: nerd night, storytelling night, and a craft beer wings. That's it. Tasting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he came to Flight Reveal and said, "I got to get involved with Rotary." So here he is.
Great. Glad to have you.
So yeah, my name is Flip Awesome Aguilera, and I love saying that because literally my middle name is Awesome. And as he was saying, I coach a Garden of the Gods. I do community building events, and yeah, I'd like to get to know more each of you a little bit better. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. That's great.
Hi, I have my two daughters with me, Trish, who lives here in Colorado Springs, and my daughter Mary from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, great, Jim. Right over here. There you go.
Are you going to introduce Kimberly?
Lots of visitors today. It's very fun day.
Hi there. Thank you for having me again. This is my second Rotary Club, and I loved my first time so much that I just put in an application. So, but thank you. Thank you. I'm with the Gold Standard, which is my own company where I do public speaking, comedy, and content creation. And I love the Rotary Club so much that I had to bring on fellow Rotarian from the Koreatown Rotary Club in LA and fellow comedian who's coming in for a show. So I'm going to give the floor to Aiden.
Hey, Aiden.
Hello. Hi. I'm Aiden. I'm from Koreatown, Los Angeles. Woo woo. If any of you come, I'll take you out for Korean barbecue. It'll be awesome. And I'm here to, I was booked on a comedy show next Wednesday, Thursday. And I have an organization called the Yay Foundation where I teach stand-up comedy to kids who've experienced some trauma, difficult times as a way to heal and de-shame their process. You know, it's very healing for everybody. And so we actually are speaking about bringing the program here to Colorado Springs. And so we're using that event as a fundraiser for that purpose. So it's next Wednesday, Thursday. We would love to see you there. It's at the 3 E's Club. And thank you so much for having me. Great salad. Thank you. Oh my God, will you take a photo of me switching flags? Oh, good. We laminated it. Isn't that Korean? Okay, well, here you go. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, guys.
Right, it does come on.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you.
Did you want to make any more jokes? That's great. You're good. You're going to be a good man. You're going to be a good man. I can tell that. Visitors. Oh, there we go.
Well, nothing worse than following a couple of good comedians. My name is Lang Sias. I'm the Republican candidate for state treasurer, and thanks very much to Jody and to Larry Liston, who is not here today, but for making it possible for us to come here today. And I'm here with my friend and fellow candidate Pam Anderson.
Hi, everybody. Yay for Lang.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
I am Pam Anderson, Republican candidate for Secretary of State. I'm a professional elections official. I served as the Jefferson County Clerk and Recorder and a municipal clerk, and I was honored this week to be profiled on the cover of Time magazine as a defender of democracy.
Wow, we got a bunch of great visitors here today. I tell you, this is very fun.
Wait a minute, it gets better.
All right.
So I just have to add a little something about Lang. He's not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Any Navy people in here? Any Navy? Come on, any? Okay. Well, that's all right, because what you may not know is that Lang Sias is not only a Top Gun, he was a Top Gun instructor. So maybe we should cue Danger Zone. Anybody got that music?
Chris, introduce your guests here.
Hello, my name is Phoenix. And, hello, my name is Phoenix. I'm in second grade and I'm 8 years old. And my pronouns are they, them.
When is your birthday? When is your birthday?
December 16th.
All right. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Trevor.
Kurt, I thought you were going to do it.
I turned it over to you.
All right. So I have a guest today, Diana Steele, and she is also a public speaker and a good friend, and she works with nonprofits, and she came to hear Kevin's message today. And Kevin's a guest, but I'll introduce him when it's time for him to speak.
Great. Welcome to all of you visitors. Thank you for being here. And let me introduce one of the best presidents we've ever had, Kay.
I'll take care of it. Thank you. Okay, now we want to recognize birthdays and anniversaries. We've already recognized the birthday boy today, Kurt, but we have Tuck Aiken, whose birthday is tomorrow. Yay, happy birthday. And earlier this week, it was Sky Forster, Vance Valadez, and Carol Bach, and Ron Rubin. So happy birthday, everybody. And then Rotary anniversaries, Cass Daly and Jeff Tiona are both 6 years as Rotarians. So congratulations. I also want to recognize those that helped today. We had Tina Dewey, Monica Lewis, Karen Adams, Jack Gotcher, Tom Nelson, Kurt Orman. Thank you all. And of course, Brad Butler for leading the song. And now I'd like to recognize John Buckley for a presentation on the Rotary Foundation.
Do I have a clicker? Thank you, sir. This little girl, because of what the men and women in this room and 1,000,003 other Rotarians do in the world, this little girl was vaccinated against polio. If I had the movie, which worked yesterday, Rotary redid their website on the 23rd and 24th. What is today? And what did the URL point to? A non-existent movie when I embedded it in my PowerPoint. It showed a family in Africa that had clean water, and we did that. It showed families, little children being educated against COVID, and we did that. Rotary Foundation has made a difference in the world because of a handful of founders and a $26.10 first donation, I think in 1917. They said, we're going to make a difference. And let me show you where the numbers are today. So that's our mission. I was a military guy. Lang will understand this. We like to focus on missions because it focuses us down. And that's what the Rotary Foundation does. It helps us do those things. Lang and I were also taught that you never read a slide, because if you ever do that to a general, they will cut your head off. So you always assume people are smart enough to read. So I'm going to let you read the slides. I don't read them. I wanted to give you a little bit of what you do when you give money. How do you get recognized? There's people in here like Tom with his fancy highfalutin button, and there's other of us in here with the round Paul Harris fellow button. I'm sorry, I'm wearing my flying button today. I probably should have put my Paul Harris button on, but those are men and women who have reached levels of giving within Rotary. I think Jim gave his wife and his daughters Paul Harris Fellows. That's why he's got this really big one that almost covers his left ear. But that means that they've made a massive difference in the name of the foundation. So these are some of the ways we do this. And multiple Paul Harris Fellows, obviously, there's a significant number of our Rotarians. I want to give you a little bit of the history of how we got here. 20+ years ago, there was a guy who became our president by the name of Wally Miller. Wally later became a district governor. And Wally was disappointed and embarrassed, but he was also a military guy, so he's pretty blunt. He was disappointed and embarrassed by our performance as a club for the foundation. So he spent a year. There'll be people in this room that will probably say ad nauseum, but he spent a year educating us and pushing us to make a difference in the foundation. And he succeeded. Within 1 year, this club had gone from giving almost nothing to most of the members giving to the Paul Harris Fellow, or to the foundation, and working their way to being Paul Harris Fellows. So kudos to Wally, been dead for several years now, because he felt like we needed to make a bigger difference. These are the big folks. They're the people who are wearing the larger buttons. I'm not going to single them out because that's not why they did it. But if you make a bequest to the foundation at your death, or you give a certain amount, they do certain things. They'll even let you designate what area of service your funds go to if you give at a certain level. And the Arch Clump Society is a pretty big deal, as well as the Legacy Society. These are club goals. I'd love to see our club become a Paul Harris Fellow club. That means every one of us would be Paul Harris Fellows. And there'll be people in this room that says, how the heck do I do that? Well, you start with a single step, as Sun Tzu said. You start with a step. And as time goes on, you build up money. So that's what I did, because unlike some of the people in this room, like Trevor and others who are independently wealthy, I've had to work to make my money. So you start with a single step, and sooner or later, as time goes on, I know that's a lie. I didn't really, but he worked for his money hard. But as time goes on, you become a Paul Harris Fellow. There's other ways to do it, because for every dollar we give, we get a Paul Harris recognition point. So I've got 1,750 recognition points, which means I could give somebody enough to make them a Paul Harris Fellow. They can't be used for anything else. It's to give away to somebody else to break the $1,000 barrier. If you give $25,000 or more, you can do it an endowment, a named endowment. $440 million last year, ladies and gentlemen. The movie that I started with, it was $395 million in 2017, 2018. As of last year, we gave $440 million. And that's a lot of money to make a difference in the world. And a lot of that is little donations. I mean, Paul, the foundation can give larger donations because each of us gives smaller donations, and we're focused on service. That's a movie that won't come up. So I think I'm done. But I wanted to thank you all for listening. You're going to hear other presentations. I won't be like Wally, but I'll be close.
Thank you so much, John. And
You want to know where you sit as a Harris Fellow? I've done a Miley, and every time we have a meeting, I will bring the sheets that show you where you sit towards your Paul Harris Fellowship.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that, John. Now I'd like to recognize Tina to talk about tomorrow and our flight auction. Very excited. I hope it.
Hi, everyone. Tomorrow's the big day. So we are looking forward to seeing you. And if you didn't buy a ticket, You can watch it via YouTube. I will be sending out a link later today that you can click on tomorrow and watch the streaming live from the Boot Barn. The streaming will start at 6:45 p.m. So there will be nothing there prior to that. And then I'll send out the link so you can register Give Smarts if you'd like to bid on some of the butterflies. We really have a beautiful selection this year, so hoping that you'll do that. And if anybody wants to help at the Boot Barn tomorrow night, we're still needing a few volunteers for that. So thank you. Yep. Right. So I'll send you I'll email out a link and you click on it at 6:45 or later tomorrow, and you'll see everybody at the Boot Barn, and you'll be watching it live. There'll be like a 30-second delay from what's actually happening in the room. That's right.
Oh, well played. I did want to recognize, I just noticed that one of our birthday people is on Zoom today. So everybody wave and say happy birthday, Ron.
Birthday, Ron.
And he's waving back. So, but we will have your ability to bid both online and at the location for the large butterflies and dragonflies. It's going to be really exciting, and we're really going high tech. It's keep your fingers crossed. And now I'd like to recognize Donna Delolio to talk about reading at Audubon.
I'm coming.
Thanks. Is it on? Yeah, thanks, Sam. We'll be reading at Audubon Elementary School this year. It's once a week reading with second and third graders. It only takes a half an hour, and the kids are so excited that we're going to be there. And Aaron, I've been talking to him, and he's going to read with us this year at Audubon Elementary School. And the kids are going to be, they'll be so excited to see him, and they're excited to see us. Kay reads, and they just love us. So we have 7 readers. We could use 3 more. You don't have to be a Rotarian. You could be a spouse or a daughter of a Rotarian, and we would love to have you. So, and some, if you signed up through the website, last week I had a form. If you got online and signed up on the website, you also need to send me an email so that I can schedule you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donna. And I'm actually going to recognize John Kaufman next, and then it'll be Cody.
Oh, hello. So, do you remember when our district governor, Sam Avon, came by a few weeks ago? And we basically challenged him to a district-wide concert to be modeled after the one that took place in a Minnesota Rotary Club that sold $1.5 million worth of tickets and netted $800,000. That's what we should be doing in Colorado. And all that money that we can raise would go to our international and domestic projects. And we should be doing that here. And I'm so glad that Aaron is here from the Vibes. He's offered up his beautiful stadium. We're looking towards next October. And this October, I would urge you to join me at the Avon District Conference, the district conference for this district up in Avon. Okay, it's October 14th through the 17th, right? And Sam has given me a slot to speak to everybody about this concert idea and this challenge that we've made to him. And this is an opportunity to collaborate with all the clubs in the district to have this amazing concert at the Vibe Stadium and make a lot of money and have it as an annual event. So let's have an exploratory set of meetings when we go up there. Aaron is a great resource for this kind of thing. He puts on concerts and sporting events all the time. And we have several people that have talent booking agencies that we're going to be talking to. So join us up for the district conference in Avon in October. Thank you.
And now I'd like to recognize Cody.
Hey, how's everybody going? So this week, definitely, if you are available, we still need at least 1 or 2 more people to help move the butterflies at the event. So let me know. It could be a Rotarian, not a Rotarian, just anybody who's able to lift up those. It'd be really helpful. And then here, if you're able to show those, no worries. Maybe. We also, next weekend, we're going to be doing the final letter sorting for our Ukrainian letter project. So if you use want to see what is going on there, you want to see all the letters that we're going to be sending out, definitely join me. It'll be at the Pinery or the what is the name? The downtown library, the Penrose. Yes, the Penrose Library. So it'll be there from 11 to 1 o'clock next Saturday. If you guys want to join me, definitely, it'll be a lot of fun. You'll get to see hopefully what will the impact of the letters that we have been sending out. And then beyond that, into October, the first week of October, I'll still be collecting donations for the place. They need socks, toiletries, gift cards for Walmart, Target, things like that. Really the stuff that's going to help the youth that's on the street kind of get some more resources. So I don't know if you guys can see here, but these are the kids from the Ukrainian project. These are refugees in Poland and another country. But basically, these are the kids that, they've gotten to open the letters, read them. And so there's some really positive smiles, which is really great. And then if you're able to go to the next one, this is actually a letter that one of the children, Ala, wrote back to us, which is really cool. And I think that was so amazing to see, these positive support that's coming to these children that really need it. So definitely, if you guys want to see these positive impacts, join me next weekend on Saturday. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Lots of fun things going on. Now I'd like to introduce our program chair, Trevor Deerdorf, to introduce our speaker.
Kevin, why don't you go ahead and do your laptop magic over here? We're having to toggle a little bit to accommodate our Zoom folks. And the input button is which one? I'm the IT guy, right? All right. So I have known Kevin Knebel for almost 20 years. But he has only been a professional speaker, traveling the world, speaking on stages every week for about 15 years. But the very first place he did a speaking gig for an audience was in 2007 for the Rotary Club of Colorado Springs. So so Kevin launched his speaking career with this group, and he's back to tell you a little bit about how to be high tech in a high touch world. And who here is got a LinkedIn profile? Who here has more than 20 written recommendations on your LinkedIn profile? Received. How about 30? Anyone? Kevin, you're up to 1900 and some change? 1927. So he is the most recommended speaker on all of LinkedIn. Help me welcome Kevin Knebel.
The mic is on. There we go. We're good. We're good. I am psyched out of my friggin' mind. Friggin's not a swear. It's a New Jersey term of endearment. Okay. So what Trevor just said is accurate. When I was born and raised in New Jersey where they eat their young, but I actually grew up in a part of New Jersey that is all cows and horses. So when you come out west and you tell people you're from Jersey, they typically think you're Tony Soprano or Snooki. But I grew up in Mayberry and I was Opie. Okay, so you have to be a certain age to get that reference. Okay, so Trevor was right. I moved to Colorado in 2004, and I had a job here. My office was actually in the Muir Law Building on Campus Drive over by the Carl's Jr. off of 25. And then in 2009, I left my sales job, and I've been kindly asked to speak in about one city per week, typically about one a week, all around the world. Just in the last couple of months, I've been on multiple states, Portugal, all around the world. It's ironic. I live here, but ironically, I'm rarely asked to speak here. So I speak all around the world. And to Trevor's point, the very first place that I got in front of a room with a microphone was this Rotary Club. And I think it was 2007. I should know the answer to this, but I don't remember. I'd have to look at my records. But it was probably around 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. And it was at the Antlers. And that was my first presentation. Since then, I've delivered thousands of presentations. I've earned millions of dollars as a professional speaker. I've helped my clients generate hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, assets under management, premium, client acquisition, referrals. So it's been a really fun, wild ride for the last 13, 14 years, or 15 years maybe. So I moved to Monument in 2004, and then about in 2019, I actually moved to this house right here on the Northern Oregon coast. So I actually left here in 2019, and I moved to the Oregon coast, lived in a little tiny witness relocation kind of locate. I was in a little village of about 250 people, and it was heaven on earth. You look out the window, you see whales, bald eagles every day. But about 9 months ago, I moved back to Colorado Springs because my parents are in their mid-80s. And last fall, I reached out to my folks and I said, I did not move to Oregon with the intention of moving back to Colorado, but if you could use my help as you're getting older, I would certainly be happy to come back and help. I can always move back to the Pacific Northwest someday down the road. And they thought about it and they said, yeah, it actually would be nice if you came back. So I came back 9 months ago. So I did not anticipate that, but isn't life funny, right? Things happen that you really couldn't plan, and you might as well just enjoy the ride, right? So I'm back. And what happened in the last 3 years? Who the heck built an Olympic museum? How did Northgate become Disney World? I mean, it is out of control. There's cranes everywhere. This whole city is just, it was growing when I got here in 2004, but now it's out of control. So anyway, that's that. I know I have limited time. My presentations typically go anywhere from about, well, today would be the shortest presentation I've probably delivered since the last time I spoke to you all 15 years ago. My presentations typically go from an hour to 2 days in length, okay? And it's all through there, right? So knowing that I have about 30 minutes, no matter how much I throw at you, and I can talk at 5,000 words a minute with Gus up to 20,000. But no matter how much I throw at you, we are literally scratching the tip of the iceberg. Now, let me say something that I am so excited to say, but I almost never get to say this because I'm usually in some other state or some other country. When I get done today, if there's anything that I say that resonates with you and you want to go a little deeper into this or discuss anything, shoot me an email, give me a phone call, smoke signal, carrier pigeon, whatever you want. I'm local. We can go have lunch. I can help you if you have questions or you just want to discuss something. I can't say that when I'm in another country, but here I can say that. So if anybody wants to get together, get to know each other better, or you have specific questions about anything under the sun, let me know. I have to eat, you have to eat. Why don't we eat together? Okay. Anybody ever been in a death by PowerPoint presentation? What is the worst way in the world to teach somebody how to ride a bike? The answer is show them a PowerPoint presentation on how to ride a bike. What is the best way in the world to show somebody how to ride a bike? Take their butt and put it on the bike, okay? So I'm gonna put your butts on the bike for a couple minutes. I'm gonna show you a couple of slides very quickly for context, and then we're gonna jump onto the internet real quick. Thank you, Al Gore, for inventing the internet. And we're gonna jump on the internet. I said that for the comedians. There they are. Oh, I'm sorry, there they are, right? Comedians, politicians, it's really the same thing, isn't it? Okay, so I say that with all due respect, Mr. Top Gun. Okay, so if you ever hear me talk, and I guess you are hearing me talk, you should know that everything that I talk about, whether I talk for 30 minutes or whether I talk for 2 days, everything comes back to this one fundamental sentence right here. all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people that they know, like, and trust. Is there anyone in the room that would disagree with that? No, I've never met a human being stupid enough to disagree with that, because you might as well deny the existence of gravity, okay? It's very true, but here's the point I want to make with you. It's the same point I make on stages all around the world. I'm going to sound a little bit philosophical, but I'm not trying to be Aristotle. Anytime I sound philosophical, I will immediately back it up with practical application. You're never going to hear me pontificate on the state of the universe or navel lint. If I say something that sounds deep, I will show you exactly how that applies in your life. Just because people have an intellectual understanding of that sentence does not by any means mean that they understand how know, like, trust works in the real world. I'm not trying to be offensive. I have limited time and I'm just being blunt, okay? So everybody I meet says, yeah, Kevin, it's all about know, like, trust. And then when I ask them, well, what were the last 5 books you read on how to create sincere and authentic know, like, trust in the mind of a stranger? I get crickets. So I said, okay, no, don't give me the last 5, just give me the last 1. I still get crickets. So what's interesting is that everybody agrees that's true, but if you were to ask people, what are you doing to deepen your understanding of how to create know, like, trust, you hear crickets. That's because they have an intellectual understanding, not an experiential or a practical understanding. What does this have to do with anything? It has a lot to do with everything, as you're going to see in a couple seconds. So again, because I'm from Jersey and I tend to just kind of bottom line it, I'm a very evidence-based guy. That does not mean that I don't have a faith life and I don't have certain beliefs, but I am ridiculously practical when it comes to evidence. So I often ask my audiences, what would be the evidence that your knowledge of know, like, trust is not only intellectual, but it's also experiential? And here's the best answer I can come up with. If you have more people that are trying to do business with you than you have time in the day to work with them all, that would be the evidence that you have a deep understanding of know, like, trust, okay? The other thing I want you to see is that no matter what it is you do, there's different professions in here, there's people that are retired in here, it doesn't matter. I'm a very principle-based guy. A lot of people teach strategies of the week. I don't worry about that. I just focus on principles. If I can double down, as they say in Vegas, on how gravity works, then I'll know how gravity works everywhere, okay? We currently live in I hope you guys don't mind if I just kind of tell it like it is, because I'm going to tell it like it is. We currently live in a world where a lot of people have lost their common sense as it relates to principles, okay? Gravity doesn't care if you're black or white. Gravity doesn't care if you're in Colorado or Germany or, you know, Timbuktu. Gravity doesn't care if you identify as a farm animal. Gravity works one way. Know, like, trust works one way also. So no matter what you do for a living, I'm going to show you 3 steps and then we're going to jump on LinkedIn. Again, I'm hitting this very fast, but I don't believe a word I say. Just ask yourself, is there evidence in my life that indicates that what Kevin's telling me is true? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I don't have to convince you that gravity works. You just have to be aware enough to go, yeah, I'm not floating, right? So number 1, you have to have ways to find people and people have to have ways to find you, regardless of what you do. Trevor runs a very successful IT management business, but at the end of the day, Trevor has to have ways to find people and people have to have ways to find Trevor. So does a politician. So does a comedian. This is like gravity. I'm going to show you in a couple seconds when we jump on LinkedIn how you can find the people you want to find for whatever reason you want to find them, almost down to eye color in about 10 seconds, okay? It's going to blow your mind, okay? Once you find them or they find you, and I assure you this is the least of your problems, you are literally a mosquito in a nudist colony of opportunity, okay? Once you find them or they find you, you're going to go to step 2. You're going to have to get them into a conversation before they're ever really going to do anything with you, okay? So here's the bottom line. I coach a tremendous number of people when I'm not on the road. So I have private coaching clients almost every day that I'm not on an airplane or a stage. And after coaching countless people, I can absolutely assure you that this second step is where most people drop the ball. And the reason why most people drop the ball is because in our business culture and in our culture at large, actually, people are not taught how to have conversations. They're taught how to have thinly veiled sales pitches referred to as elevator pitches and other forms of BS and manipulation. And people can see it coming a mile away, okay? So if you were to put a gun to my head and you were to say, Kevin, how do you help your clients make so much money? I would say, well, there's numerous ways that I do it, but if I had to bottom line it, I help them become a little bit more normal. Because a lot of people in business have absolutely no understanding of how bad their commission breath smells. Not a clue. By the way, have you ever met somebody with breath so bad that it could curl your hair? I don't think that person wakes up in the morning and says to themselves, how offensive can I make my breath today? I think that person has an innocent misunderstanding of oral hygiene. And when you introduce them to radical concepts like toothbrush and floss, all of a sudden the people that they're repelling are no longer repelled. I'm using a metaphor. I'm not using a metaphor for business. See, I like to play chess. I play chess every day. When you agreed that this statement was true, and every one of you agreed, I've never met anybody stupid enough to not agree, I have already checkmated you. You just don't know. All I have to do is show you how what you're telling me you believe you violate 10 times a day unknowingly. I just have to bring your bad breath to your attention. Once I bring it to your attention, I don't even have to tell you to use floss, because the only reason you're not is because it's not in your attention. Once I bring it to your attention, you go, oh my God, I should probably brush my teeth. Yes, you probably should. That might help, okay? So if we keep going down here, and then we'll jump on LinkedIn. Once you can draw somebody into a conversation, which is ridiculously simple, Dale Carnegie wrote a book on it in 1936 called How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's 30 chapters in that book, and I recite every chapter from memory every morning when I'm in the shower. I do. When I got up this morning at 7 a.m. by Palmer Park and Powers, as I was lathering up, you know what most people do when they get up in the morning? They grab their phone. They see what country was invaded, who got raped, what happened with the stock market, and then they wonder why they're in a bad mood. It's not a trash can with a hairy lid, okay? I get up in the morning and I say to myself, I know my success is completely dependent on my ability to sincerely and authentically connect with other people. Studying the news is not going to help me do that. I'm not opposed to the news, but that's not where I'm going to start my day. So I literally get in the shower. There's 30 chapters at How to Win Friends and Influence People. And every morning, fundamental techniques in handling people. Number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. Number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. 6 ways to get people to like you. Number 1, become genuinely interested in other people. So by the time I get out of the shower, I've already recited all 30 chapters. Now, don't be impressed by my memory. My memory isn't that good, but you repeat something every day for 30 years, you remember it. By the way, I used to be a piano player in New York City. That's what I did for a living, okay? For years before I got into sales, before I became the top salesperson for multiple companies and then became a professional speaker. I can assure you, I don't have a great memory. I closed a lot of bars. I killed a lot of brain cells. And unlike Bill, who says he didn't inhale, I inhaled deeply, okay? So I'm just saying, you don't have to have a great memory, right? So the last step is once you get somebody into a conversation, you have to have some ways to create sincere and authentic know-like trust so that when you do bring your product or service into the conversation, the other person actually listens with a little bit of an open mind. That's really what I teach. It's a very simple 3-step system, but it's really basically I teach people common sense. Is really, I can't believe I get paid what I paid to teach people common sense, okay? Having said all that, let's jump on LinkedIn. So, who do I not know? I don't know the comedian who made the comment about, we laminate it, isn't that so Korean? Which I thought was brilliant, okay? So by the way, I have family that lives in Studio City and in Burbank, so I know your part of the world pretty well, and I get there. No, I'm not. But I probably should hesitate to use him because he's so good, he's gonna make me look stupid, right? So I'm gonna use you. What's your first name? Have we met before, Kimberly? No. Have I provided you with the answers in advance to the questions I'm about to ask you? Are you a plant in the audience? No. I've never met her in my life. We've never had a conversation, but I will bet you as much money as you want to bet me. She will give me the last word in the next sentence. Kimberly, you only have one chance to make a good first. You got it. So that was true 1,000 years ago. It's true now, and it's going to be true 1,000 years from now if we're all still around, okay? But here's the thing. Everybody intellectually knows that we should have a good first impression. There's this thing called LinkedIn. It was launched in 2003. I am not a computer geek. I am very proud of the fact that at my age, I've never created a Word document, PowerPoint presentation, or Excel spreadsheet. I'd rather crawl over barbed wire naked. Not my idea of fun, but if God gave you that gift and you're good with all that computer stuff, great, that's your gift. That's not my gift, okay? So I know, because I got on LinkedIn 60 days after it launched, not because I was prescient, not because I had a crystal ball. It was just a buddy of mine sent me an invitation to get on LinkedIn 60 days after it launched in 2003. By the way, in 2003, people weren't even using the term social media. Okay, there was like Napster and MySpace back then, and I wasn't on either of those. I get this invitation to get on LinkedIn, and I look at it and I said, oh my God, it's a Rolodex. Now, Kimberly, you may have to Google that, okay? But back in the old days, we had these plastic or metal things you would put business cards on, and that was how you kept. Anybody remember these days? Remember this? So would everybody agree with me? By the way, you will never, ever get any quantum physics from me. I will ask you the simplest of questions. But the reason I want you to know that I'm asking simple questions is because people have been deluded into believing that they live in a complicated world. Pause for effect. We don't live in a complicated world. The world itself runs quite well. You have not thought about breathing or making your hair grow 1 second today, but it's been happening. We don't live in a complicated world, but people's thinking about how the world is quite complex. But the world itself is doing quite well. Trees are growing, birds are flying, okay? But it's the thinking and not understanding, and that's another seminar I can come in and give another time if you want me to come back. But what I've noticed is that, wouldn't you agree that we become more proficient at the things that we tend to study? Even a 5-year-old would understand that, right? By the way, where's the young kid? My birthday's right after they, them. Right, my birthday's the day after they, them, December 17th. So where I'm going with that, I don't have a filter, by the way. If I'm thinking it, it's probably coming out, okay? So you just agreed with me that people tend to get good at what they study, but they tend to be amateurs at what they don't study. If you were to go out on Tejon with a clipboard and ask people, tell me what you've read or studied in terms of professional networking or using a Rolodex, you would hear crickets. So what evidence would you have that most people have any understanding of what to do with LinkedIn? I'm not saying people are stupid. People are not stupid. I'm just pointing out that you are good at what you've studied and you're an amateur at what you have not studied, okay? LinkedIn is the world's largest Rolodex, 850 million users, 2 to 5 new users per second. It's been around for 19 years. It's almost old enough to drink. And I've been on it since 60 days after it came out. Not because I was planning my future. I had no idea that eventually I would leave my job and travel around the world. It just, life's funny, right? So the reason I'm saying all this is I don't think there's a human being on earth that's looked at more LinkedIn profiles than I have. Because I've been doing this all day, every day for 19 years. I would bet you as much money as you want to bet me that well over 95% of the 800 million people on LinkedIn have LinkedIn profiles which do not deliver a good first impression. It's not because they're stupid. It's just they haven't thought it through. Well, in a world where we have the internet, it makes common sense that if somebody's thinking about doing business with Mr. Top Gun, they're probably going to check out Mr. Top Gun. They're going to type his name into Google or YouTube or LinkedIn, and they are going to make a first impression one way or another. It's going to happen. Well, common sense would say if you know people are going to check you out, it might be smart to invest a couple of minutes into making sure your profile looks good. I could literally spend the next 2 hours going over LinkedIn profile optimization with you. I don't have that much time. I'm going to take like 2 minutes, okay? But again, if you ever want to get together and have lunch and go deeper, let me know. So I'm just going to show you a couple of my private coaching clients very quickly just to point out a couple things. What these people do for a living is irrelevant because gravity doesn't care what you do for a living. I'm teaching principles. So it's not like, oh, a financial advisor should do this, but a veterinarian should do that. That is a misunderstanding of how gravity works. Okay? You've been faked out into thinking, oh, gravity works different for veterinarians. No, it's still about know, like, trust. So I'm going to show you here Robert, who's a financial advisor, one of my clients in Florida. Nice headshot. It's got a little picture in the background. If you don't want to do something like that, here's Alex. Alex is in San Francisco. I think he's like 4th generation San Francisco. He's very proud of that. So all we did is we just put the Golden Gate Bridge behind his headshot. I could easily, if I took Diana and I was helping Diana optimize her LinkedIn profile, in 10 seconds, we could take a picture of Pikes Peak. We could do anything, literally almost anything we want to do, but you need to have some kind of a picture back there. If we go back to Robert here, underneath he's got, all the acronyms, CFC, CLU, EIEIO, as they say in Texas, if you did it, it ain't bragging. Okay, so if you earn some credentials, go ahead and put them after your name. But underneath the name, what most people do is they put their job title and they put the company they work for, which makes total logical sense. Except the reason why people do that is because they look at LinkedIn like it's a resume. Big mistake. It will cost you millions. I want you to look at LinkedIn like it's an online cocktail party. I'm aware that that sounds odd. If you and I were to ever work together, I would hit that from 100 different angles until you said, it totally makes sense that this is an online cocktail party and not a resume. By the way, a resume, a cold, sterile resume, which is what 98% of all the people on LinkedIn have. A cold, sterile resume doesn't lead to know, like, trust. A cold, sterile resume is just data. What leads to know, like, trust is when you position yourself as the business professional you are, and you balance it by being human. To whatever degree you're willing to share, talk a little bit about what you do when you're not serving your clients, when you're not working. Again, I'm not trying to make you the life of the party. I'm just saying to whatever degree you're comfortable. So with Robert here, if we look at his profile, I said, Robert, let's get rid of the resume. Is that dinging for me? Or what is that? Is that somebody's phone? Okay. So here, I said, put it in first person because you don't talk in third person at a cocktail party. If I walked up to Robert Mills at a cocktail party, by the way, everybody in this room asks a question, which is a very normal question when you meet a stranger. What do you do for a living? That is a rookie question. You don't want to be a rookie. You want to be an expert. You want to be better than, you want to be a professional. When I meet a stranger, if I ask Jane Young, Jane, what do you do for a living? She's going to go, I'm a financial advisor, but that doesn't tell me anything. That automatically pigeonholes her in my mind as to what I think a financial advisor is. Here's a far more intelligent question to ask a stranger. Hey, Jane, tell me how what you do for a living really delivers value to people. Pause. She's never been asked that once in her life. It's an extremely respectful question because now I've got her full attention, because half the time when you ask somebody, what do you do for a living? They're not even listening. So now I've got her attention, and now she has to think, what do I do that helps people? Which will, she'll start to explain what she does. Wouldn't that give me a far better understanding of how she helps people than just giving me a stupid job title? And she starts to feel better about herself because she's remembering how she helps people. And I'm feeling, so this is Dale Carnegie 101. What people often call me is the Dale Carnegie of LinkedIn. And I say, well, I'll take that as a compliment, but it really, see, a communication tool is only as effective as the communication skills of the person using the tool. It's another slap to the face with common sense, right? If I take my phone and I give it to a St. Bernard doesn't know what to do with a phone. It doesn't diminish the value of the phone. It's just that St. Bernard's going to lick it and bite it because that's what St. Bernards do. Well, if you were some commission breath salesperson before you got on LinkedIn, now you're going to be a commission breath salesperson on LinkedIn. Oh, I hate social media, Kev. It's a waste of my time. Everybody's trying to sell me something. I say, I'm assuming you canceled your cell phone subscription. Well, what do you mean? Well, aren't people trying to sell you stuff on that too? See, what people do is they get focused on the communication tool instead of putting their focus on the communication, okay? So I said, let's take this, and why don't you talk to me in first person and tell me what you used to do? He used to be a minister. I said, tell me about that. Okay, enough of that. Now tell me about how you got into financial advising. Okay, enough of that. Now tell me what you do in your local business community, and then tell me when you're not working, what you enjoy doing. So he mentions that he and his wife live on the river, they like boating. Again, the more information you're willing to put in your profile explaining who you are in business and out of business, the faster you are going to accelerate through these 3 steps. You don't know that yet because I'm playing chess 4 moves in advance. I'm not saying I'm smarter than you, I'm just saying I've been doing this for so long, okay? Wouldn't it make sense that the more you're willing to tell me about who you are in your business and personal life, it would be easier to find commonalities with other people? Wouldn't it be easier to get them into a conversation if you knew you had something in common with them? And wouldn't it be easier to actually build some know, like, trust? But you're not taught that in business. You're taught manipulation. You're taught elevator pitches. You're taught KPI. You're taught, oh, blah, 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 you know, all this stuff. And people, what's amazing to me is people suspend common sense when they get into business. By the way, those 3 steps, Molly, is there a Mr. Molly or a Mrs. Molly? Kimberly? Sorry. Kimberly, is there a Mr. Kimberly or Mrs. Kimberly or somebody? Okay, what's Mr. Kimberly's first name? I'm not going to pull them up, okay? I want to show you that these 3 steps that I'm telling you are exactly the same in her personal life as they are in her professional life. But you miss it because you're tricked by the illusion. What's his first name? Zacharia. Aria. Don't lie to me. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Did you and Zacharia meet somewhere somehow? Were you interested in him when you met him? Okay, so there's step 1. She identified somebody as she had an interest in, just like you would in business. Were you attracted to him? Do you consider yourself an honest person? So I'm assuming because you're an honest person, when you saw somebody you were attracted to, you grabbed them and started trying to kiss them, right? She did not do that. Why did you not do that? Because it would have been unprofessional, it would have been bad. I'm describing business, folks. If you look around at business, you've been taught to find prospects and jump on them like a pit bull on a mailman. You started a conversation with Zacharia. And then that escalated to a cup of coffee or a movie or some dates, and you built some know-like trust, and eventually you and Zacharia kissed. I will tell you exactly when you kissed. When you had established sufficient know-like trust. But you never thought of it the way I'm describing it. All I'm doing is I'm teaching you the mechanics behind gravity, to use a metaphor. So the irony here is that people think that the way the world works in their personal life is different than their professional life. There's no evidence to support that. That's like saying that the gravity in your home works different than the gravity in your office. You're going to have a hard time selling me on that, okay? So the last thing I'm going to show you for the next minute to 2 minutes, because I have a hard stop, I'm going to show you because I made a claim and I want to make sure I can go with that. Trevor, you're a businessman. You work with CEOs and people like that, right? So step 1 in my 3 steps is you have to have ways to find people. LinkedIn has 800 million people. I'm going to type in here Colorado, state of Colorado, okay? I could put in a zip code. I could put in a city. I could put in a country. In the state of Colorado, there are over 2 million people that have a LinkedIn profile. Trevor's typically looking for business owners. They might have CEO or president or owner in their LinkedIn job title. They could have other things too, like managing partner, independent rep, but I'm just doing this fast and dirty. In the state of Colorado, apparently there are over 270,000 people that have CEO, business owner, or president in their LinkedIn title. But then Trevor says, I don't want to work with somebody that has no employees. I'm going to go with a business that, let's say, has 11 to 200 employees. And now we just found that in the state of Colorado, there are over 58,000 people. I could do this till the cows come home. I could say, I want to find the people that have owned these businesses for at least 10 years. I want to find the people that speak Spanish. I want to find the people that went to the same college Trevor went to. LinkedIn supports 147 different industries. I want to find them in any particular or multiple industries. But now I'm going to say one more thing, and then we'll call it a day, because I want to show you how I'm teaching you chess a couple moves in advance. I made a comment 5 minutes ago where I said, the more you're willing to tell me about what you do outside of business, the quicker I'm probably going to start to build some know-like trust with you. Well, Trevor, I know Trevor likes to golf because I golf with Trevor. So it should be in his LinkedIn profile. When I'm not serving my clients, some of the things that Tara and I, his wife's name is Tara and I enjoy doing is playing golf, traveling to Belize, whatever, playing with my drone and whatever he wants to say. I'm just going to type the word golf in here. Any word that I type in here or combination of words, it's going to see if any of these 58,000 people have that word in their LinkedIn profile. Anybody getting this? This is gold. Doesn't matter. It just means it's in their profile. So I have just identified 901 people in the state of Colorado that I know for a fact are business owners that are running businesses with 11 to 200 employees, and somewhere in their LinkedIn profile is the word golf. If you're like, oh, that's interesting, you missed it. We would have killed for a tool like this 20 or 30 years ago, and I haven't even gotten started, okay? So I could save this so that LinkedIn goes on autopilot and looks for these people every second of the day. And once a week sends Trevor an email saying, here's all the new people that didn't exist last week. Let me just show you. See these searches? I have no interest in these searches. These are just searches I created when I was teaching this, and I just forgot to delete them. I don't remember who the heck I was talking to on August 26th of 2020, 2 years ago, but I didn't do a search for the entire state of Colorado. I did a 10-mile radius of that one zip code for anybody with CEO president in their job title, 11 to 200 employees, and somewhere in their LinkedIn profile is the word travel. On August 26th of 2020, LinkedIn found however many people they found, but apparently in the last 2 years while I was sleeping, LinkedIn found 2,049 new people that didn't exist on August 26, 2020. And if I clicked on that number, it would show me every one of those people. This is mind-boggling. But let me end with this. I've been doing this all day, every day for 19 years. I think I have authority or credibility to say what I'm about to say. I don't care what you do for a living. I would predict that there are less than 2% of the people that you would consider to be competitors that even have a clue that this even exists, let alone are doing it. It's not because they're stupid. They're busy doing other things. This is not what they do. So what I'm showing you is I'm showing you such a competitive advantage if you hear what I'm saying. For those that have ears to hear and eyes to see, that's what I'm saying, right? So I'm saying, get a little basic understanding of how to do this in 15 minutes a day. That's all you need is 15 minutes a day, how to do this. And you will be able to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in your life. He's trying to get elected. He's trying to get more comedy gigs, right? But at the end of the day, it's still 3 steps. You're going to have to find people. People are going to have to find you. You're going to have to get them into a conversation, not in your example. I mean, you get what I'm saying. With the, greatest. You're going to have to get into a conversation with a guy that owns a comedy club that will book you, right? So you get what I'm saying. Don't take it too literal. I'm using metaphors here. And then you're going to have to build a little bit of know, like, trust. So it's really very simple. I apologize that I went over by 4 minutes. Sorry about that. I'm local. I don't have to run to the airport. I'm not going to, there won't be skid marks in the parking lot. So if anybody wants to chat afterwards, or you want to go out for tequila next week or whatever, give me a call. I'm around. I'll be happy to chat with you. God bless you. Have a great fall. Can you believe it's fall? Wasn't it just Y2K? Okay, so have a great fall. Thank you for laughing at my dumb jokes. And here's Kay. You're welcome.
Speaking to us, and then, of course, the very important.
Well, I
glass
did
for
mention
your
the
table.
tequila, so that's a big glass of tequila. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Trace Ross is a musical storyteller. That should be fun. And I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow and then again next week. Thank you. And the meeting is now adjourned.